Sounds like we're good. So, welcome in everybody to this episode of the Depths podcast. This is episode 5, and we're going to talk about masculinity in VTubing. I'm joined today by Kai Lazuli, Maito, and Vaughn, three illustrious masculine VTubers, many of all of whom I look up to greatly, are fantastic entertainers in their own right, and we have an interesting conversation today. So, I'm pretty sure you know most people here, but we're going to do some introductions real quick. Maito, why don't you start?
Sure. My name is Maito. I'm a villain VTuber. That's pretty much all you need to know. Actually, just kidding. I'll say a little bit more. I do quite a bit of stuff. I make variety content. I'm getting into voice acting. I'm gonna put some effort into ASMR, stuff like that. And I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Atra.
Thank you for being here, Mai. Next up, we got Malachi Lazuli.
Hello, everyone. As I said, my name's Malachi Lazuli, though most people call me Kai or some other nickname they might come up with on the spot. I am a gem VTuber, so I am made of gems. So I'm hard, but also, sometimes a little fragile if you hit me in the right spot. I make variety content on Twitch. I've been streaming for almost coming up on a year now, and yeah, I just like playing games, hanging out with the homies, and just having a bunch of fun with everyone. So yeah, that's really about it. I never know what to say with any of these intros. I always suck at them.
You're doing fantastic. I'm just fiddling with your volumes as we go along.
No problem.
Right.
No problem.
Great. You sound good now. And now to my immediate left is Vaughn.
Hey there, my name's Vaughn. You can call me V, Vaughn, or Burb if you will. I'm a postal VTuber, and I play a lot of variety. I'm a comfy horror streamer, and do interviews, art, what have you. And yeah, I just like being chill and spending time with good people.
Vaughn has no legs. Is that true, Vaughn?
No legs, never had them.
Yeah, I just increased Vaughn as well. Thank you, Mystique. Yeah, so welcome in, everybody. I have prepared some questions. I actually got some assistance on these from our friend Lady Mystique, who is a frequent guest of the pod. Thank you, by the way. But we really want to talk today about the expectations that viewers have of masculine VTubers, some of the norms and almost memes about male streamers. And then also some esoteric topics as well. We just want to talk about being male content creators, masculine presenting content creators on this platform. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is, how do you think your viewers' expectations of masculinity affect the way they interact with you?
It's a good question, and I think it's a hard question to answer. But maybe we can start by trying to define what masculinity is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So definitely, when we say masculinity, we're talking about sort of conventional Western norms. So particularly European and American norms of being masculine. So being the conventional cis male presenting person, which manifests in VTubing as mostly having a deeper voice, dressing a certain way, and wearing conventionally male fashion, for example. As you see here, with two of us are wearing hoodies, and and also just in general, fulfilling the expectations of a masculine person in a Western space. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Maito, I actually noticed that you have male VTuber as one of your tags. Can you tell me a little bit more about the decision?
Yeah. For me, I mean, I mostly just want to be I know discovery on Twitch is not existent, pretty much. It's not a reliable way to grow, but that doesn't mean I don't want to make decisions that might help it along the process, So with my tags, I try to choose aspects of myself that are likely to be searched by some people. And I know there are plenty of people who definitely are into the whole like male VTuber idea. You know, some people seek out male VTubers specifically. So, you know, it was kind of that thought process that made me want to just add it as a tag. Yeah, because I know like male VTubers sometimes come up in discussion, and sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. I do see some like hate on male VTubers on Twitter sometimes, but I mean, people hate on everything on Twitter sometimes. But like,
Of course.
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Those are some
typically
tired
one
memes,
to embrace controversy, as you can probably see pretty often. So yeah, I just threw the tag on with that in mind.
Mystique says in chat, they like anime men, just like some people like anime women. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I had to take a first kind of crack at this, in terms of being a masculine VTuber, and how, what was the question? How chat or how people would interact with us, or
Like, what are your expectations? What are viewers' expectations of you coming in? Like, what do you think they're coming to see?
I don't know. So there's just so many different aspects. Like some people might come to see like, you know, a comfy like masculine figure to like, for lack of a better term, like cozy up and just watch.
Mhm.
Some might look for someone to flirt with a little bit. Some people might look for like there's a large like there's a big variety of like what could be specifically searched for like and found from a like a specifically a masculine VTuber. So it's hard to say directly. Although if I had to say like what people often maybe come find me for, I think it might be like a bit of comfy chaos. I'd say like there's times when I'm very relaxed and like, you know, I have people that compliment like that like to compliment my voice a lot and say I'm very relaxing. So like I think it might be something along those lines. But then there's also people that'll like come in. It'll just be like a big old mess, and we're all here for it. So
I see.
I'm not sure if that specifically answers the question.
No, I
that's
think it did
what-
because you touched on a couple of very important points there. Like some people are looking for something to flirt with a little bit, looking for a bit of masculine attention. Some people looking for some comfort. Like, and you know, not all comfort is the same. Like people tell me my voice is comforting and they have to fall asleep to it. I don't know why, but like that is something I think is conventionally masculine about my model and my appeal.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point that I noticed a couple of times. Like I've had several people come through to my Twitch from Twitter after seeing my design and they wanted to check out my live content. And then they hear my voice and they're like, whoa, you don't sound like what I imagined. And I think when people see my art, they imagine like, you know, like a deep voice, like all those like himbo VTubers, you know, just like the deep booming voice. And, you know, my voice is a little bit higher in register and I can get the vocal fry to make it sound deeper, but like, it's not quite the same. And I think it like surprises some people because of the way my art portrays me. Like it makes my character look like super masculine, and then I guess that like sets up their expectations. And what I hear a lot, luckily, is you know, you don't sound like what I expected, but you do have a nice voice. So like luckily people still like my voice, but yeah, I think like they do have that expectation of like the deep voice just from the way my art portrays me.
I'm like barely holding back laughter because when Renry showed me your stream, I'm like, oh, it's that guy from Twitter. I go into your stream, I was like, oh, his voice is not what I thought it would be.
Yeah, so it was literally with like your experience with me too. So yeah, it's probably a very common thing, and like I don't know, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's not because you know what?
It's just something I noticed.
You know my second like thing I said to her after that. I said, hey, I could be a VTuber too. I'm not even joking.
Fuck yeah,
I thought
dude.
I thought everyone needed to have like a deep masculine voice to make it out here. I heard your voice and I'm like, you know what? He's charming. He's like so engaging with his voice, and like in like the most positive way possible. Like, dude, the minute I heard your voice, I'm like, yeah, I could do this too. But,
Hell yeah.
Thank you, man.
You don't gotta thank me. I'm just doing what I do.
Oh man, sorry to take that aside, everybody. Vaughn, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so when I first started up, a lot of people were trying to treat me like hypersexually at first. When I first started being a VTuber, I was like, no, you get Big Brother content out of me. And it was also around the time that everybody was like trying to push all the males to do like the corpse voice, where I was like, well, the man's got a debilitating thing going on with like the GERD and stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to stray my voice, and just you get what you get. You either get stern or you get comforting Big Brother. There's no two ways about it. But after I started like pushing back on, like, hey, look, I'm not here to like hook up with anybody. I'm just want to be friends. A lot of people eased up on me, and I feel like I do get to break a lot of the masculine norms with my more like soft color palette and longer fringe and stuff like that. So I feel like I escape a little bit of it, and people have less expectations for me to be overbearingly manly as the Western standpoint.
Absolutely.
That actually reminds me of something that a couple people, when my design was first leaked, I say leaked, I put out, it was some people thought that my character was feminine, more feminine presenting than masculine. And I looked at them and was like, I can see where you're coming from, but also I had like big old pecs. I had my abs just on full display. Like I'm not saying anything against that, but also it's interesting that I had a few people like on the other side where it's like, oh, I thought you were more like feminine. I was like, oh no.
That's so weird. It's really interesting. Yeah. So this actually delves into what I was wanting to talk about next, which is something I've noticed recently, and has been talked about a lot on Twitter as well, is what's your take on bullying the streamer? Do you think there's an expectation that masculine streamers should have a thicker skin?
I don't know if it's necessarily that people expect masculine streamers specifically to have a thicker skin. I think there's just kind of like a bully culture on Twitch sometimes. But yeah, I think continuing on what I was saying, I don't think it's a masculine specific thing. I think because I've seen female streamers get bullied too, and no matter how masculine or tough skinned someone may appear to you, nobody likes getting bullied. Like, sure, light teasing is totally fine, I think. Like, I have zero problems with, like, if I can obviously tell that it's playful and it's like in good spirits and like it makes people laugh, then by all means go for it. But if you're like attacking my identity or like making me feel bad or like if you go too far, it can hurt. No matter how masculine or feminine you are, or wherever you lie on the spectrum, getting bullied can hurt. And like if it happens often enough, it can really discourage people from wanting to push that go live button and really wanting to like engage with their community. If they start stream wondering like, man, am I gonna get bullied today? Like, it can really be discouraging. So yeah, that's my take.
I like what Faye says here about there's folks who assume a closeness that they haven't earned, sadly.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed, and I've talked with a few of my streamer friends who have also been doing this much longer than me about it, and it's just always seems to be this level of it when people want to feel included, they overstep the boundary of the fact that they're not included. Like there will be like say there's a like you have a close personal friend and heck they might even be VIP in your channel. They'll come in and they'll do a bit with you. They'll call you like a little shithead and they'll be like, ah, you little wait, wags finger. And then like first time chatter pops up, haha, you shithead. I'm just like, who the fuck are you?
Right. Like
Like,
dropping into
it's-
someone's DMs like, hi Stinky, and it's like, wait, who are you?
Exactly. It's like it just gets to be the point of like build that relationship on your own. Like don't just try to follow in on something that you're not a part of just because you want to show off this perceived closeness that you have with the streamer, because that's when like, and not even getting into like the more like egregious stages of it, but like that's the beginnings of parasocial behavior.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
assuming that you have this closeness that you can get away with these things, or just in general that these things are okay to say to streamers when you don't know them. Because I could tell you like half the stuff that my chat does to me on the regular, like if a bunch of random people came in and started doing that to me, I'd probably get really discouraged. But because I have a lot of people that like come back to me and I see like we kind of just continue the same kind of ongoing joke, or like, you know, I might do something stupid and they'll get on me about it. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I deserve that. But when it gets to, again, like not knowing people and like that being your first experience with them, it just becomes like you don't know how to take it. You don't know if they're really intentionally being mean or if they're just trying to go with the flow and say whatever comes to their mind. Yeah. It's one of the other reasons in general why I just hate text chat.
That's true.
It's impossible to read intention.
Yeah.
Preach, dude.
I think we all have a mutual friend in Danja Horang who like constantly has people come into chat, like first time chatters, and will make a ball joke. And
Mhm.
it,
I'm
get,
sure
it
Maito
gets to
has
people.
that himself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Trust me, I know all about that.
Yeah. Like,
What
I'm
did
sure you
someone
two
say
are
today
just
to you? It's
known.
like Lego figurehead.
Yeah,
looking
someone
thing?
called me Lego Anakin Skywalker hairstyle.
Why specifically
having
Anakin
to
Skywalker?
do, like, yeah. Like,
That's crazy.
to their credit, I've never heard that one before, and it's rare that I hear a ball joke for the first time. Like, I've heard them all,
Mhm.
but and like that was fine because I'd never heard it before, and I like made it into a joke. Like, is
Mhm.
that pre or post lava Anakin? You know,
Yeah.
and you know, if it's funny, that's one thing, but like yeah, there's definitely that weird dynamic where people try to like overstep their boundaries to fast forward closeness with the streamer.
Mhm.
You've got some
Yeah.
great questions popping in chat right now, but continue.
Me personally, I'm very big on keeping my own peace. If like Maito said, if I can tell they're joking, sure, whatever. But if I am uncomfortable or do not feel like it's contributing to like my happiness, I'm very glad to hit that block button if somebody's overstepping that bound. I'm
Mhm.
like, if they want to come back and talk to me and be like, hey, what happened, or they want to like explain, sure, I'll more than glad to give a second chance. But I'm very very good about keeping my own peace. I don't engage with people that are just trying to bring me down, and just, you know, after when you first start, and then like your first consistent viewers start bullying you for something, you just stop taking it.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. Just not engaging with the stuff that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
I hear streamers say that you should read every message in chat, especially if you're a small streamer, because it's very obvious when you ignore a message. And I disagree. I think you should ignore messages that make you uncomfortable, especially if you're a small streamer, because then it's even more obvious that it made you uncomfortable because you intentionally ignored it and they can tell. They know that you can read those messages because the chat's going slowly. And you, like, why would you read something out loud that makes you uncomfortable? This is your stream. Like, maybe it's not something that goes past the threshold where you want to ban them or like time them out, but if it makes you uncomfortable, give them that subtle heads up that, like, you know, that's not something you're cool with. And maybe they'll get the hint. But usually people that say stuff like that aren't very good with social skills, so they might not pick up on it, and maybe a timeout will be a good idea in the future. But absolutely, control your space. Interact with what you want to interact with.
Yeah.
The way that you set expectations for chat and people in your chat, like that's really key. Like if you choose to read something out, or to ignore something, or to react to something a certain way, like that's valid, and like, you know, that sets the tone for your future interactions with the person. You do not want this to build up, and then you have to ban somebody like, you know, 3-4 streams down the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had a question in chat earlier. Thoughts on male viewers from Angel Demon VT. Thoughts on male viewers that think they're more alpha male than you and try to outdo what you're doing on stream, or females that are pushy with sexual jokes.
I'm just gonna lead this in with, if there are any alpha males out there, I welcome you to my chat. I want to put you in your place and then hit that ban button. Oh my god, it would be so fucking funny. You give me so many clips. Please come do that. I'm begging you. Like, yo, like Andrew Tate. You know what? If you want to come on my stream for an interview, get your ass come on down.
According to Twitter, I'm already here.
Shit. Oh my lord. Get out of here. Bro, anyone who would relate you to Andrew Tate would be, oh, fuck.
That pisses me off. I've blocked people for saying that about me.
Yeah, it's an auto block.
Like,
That's immediate.
Like, I don't care if you call me Mr. Clean, but if you call me Andrew Tate, you're gone, bro. I just don't want to engage with that shit.
It's so bad. I'm sorry. I'm on a high because I ended up watching a few Andrew Tate memes with some friends the other day, so I was like, it was fresh in my mind. But genuinely, okay. My actual answer now. Alpha males coming into chat, it's never happened to me. I don't know how many people it's happened to. I've had people that like come in and kind of try to flex how good they are at the game I'm playing. But like that's not, I wouldn't really put that as alpha mentality. So yeah, I wouldn't say I've personally dealt with it, but it would just be really cringe. And I think thankfully I think that a lot of my community would also agree that's really cringe if somebody ever did that. Because I try to make my community a very safe space and welcoming space. As for people coming in being like trying to make like too many like lewd jokes or like sexual like advances, I mean, like I've had people simp for me, like my design, my voice, etc. I always kind of like roll with the punches on that one. I don't engage with it too much per se, because I know there was a time when I felt like I had to. And after a while, I was doing it and I realized it made me feel uncomfortable to continue doing it. So I cut back on it. And for the most part, like I didn't make like any kind of announcement being like, hey guys, cut back on this. It started interacting with it differently. And I think people caught on. And I think that's where I'm at now. And I think it's a nice comfy, like I'm never gonna censor it. I have an adult community. It's 18 plus. I allow people to make whatever jokes they want. Whether I interact with it a certain way or not is up to me. And that's how I manage my space for that.
Yeah, I definitely have moments where people come in and like they see my content and they just assume I'm a certain way. But I am mostly pretty chill on stream. I don't want to be like, you know, making horny talk with chat. Like, we're just relaxing, so I'll just be like, hey, you know, say that for DMs or whatever. Like, I'll play it off, but like at the same time, like I'm not trying to make this hypersexual like orgy happening while I'm like trying to stream like Persona 5 or something. You know what I mean?
Damn, it's like you just described my chat from 6 months ago. Honestly, I had such a problem with flirting in my chat, and it's because of me. I engaged with it a lot, and like I was comfortable with it at the time, but there were like maybe 2 or 3 people who would very consistently push the line, and like they would just keep pushing the envelope and going too far, And it got to the point where I had to like get my mod team on it. I had to get on it, and I had to just start timing people out. And like, it made me feel gross. The fact that they were going as far as they did in my chat, and like while I'm trying to play a video game with people, like I love flirting with people, but that kind of killed my enjoyment of flirting in the Twitch space, you know, because just having your boundaries consistently and regularly encroached upon is not a good feeling. And like that changed the way that I interacted with flirtatious behavior in my chat, and now the flirtation is like generally gone with the regulars in my chat, and I'll occasionally flirt with new people because they usually come in and they're like, you know, oh my god, your voice is so like amazing, and I'm like, yeah, you like my voice, I'll flirt a little bit in that, but like that's usually it now, and I'm pretty happy with that, I think.
Yeah.
I've had
That's
more
really
issues.
fascinating. Oh, go ahead, Vaughn.
Oh, sorry about that. I've had more issues with alphas in my chat.
Oh
Really?
Oh my God.
They just see like soft purple pigeon boy, and they're just like, yeah, I can dominate this guy. It's like, didn't ask, don't care, don't want. Get out.
Good for you. When
No,
I
for
see
sure.
someone trying to be an alpha giga chat in Twitch chat, all I receive through that Twitch chat medium is baby energy. You know, you're so insecure that you're trying to come into my space and act like that, and all that's coming across is that you're a little toddler that wants attention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
big, like my dad can beat up your dad energy. There's like so
Yeah. The real Chads are the guys that are subtle about it.
Absolutely. I have a great question, Chad, here from Maris Mermaid. Question: how close do you feel with your cultural masculinity, and do you feel that makes an appearance while live? Are there certain things you tone down to make yourself more palatable? I really like this question. I think actually, yeah.
No,
I mean, if I'm talking about me, so like there's a handful of Asian American male VTubers. I can't even name another Indian American like VTuber out there. So there's a lot of people who will come to me and just have no idea like what to expect. You know, are they gonna expect some guy who talks like this and whatever? You know, or are they gonna like what like it's in a way like I feel some burden to like present myself a certain way as a positive masculine role model, like sort of combat stereotypes about like my people and about brown skinned men and such. And it's always in my mind a little bit. Like I do consider myself just one of the guys, and but I also consider myself an Asian American VTuber. And there is the sense, like I think, like there's so few of us, so I do kind of feel like I'm representing when I'm out here, even like very subtly. You know what I mean?
I don't know if this is a topic that I can necessarily speak on with a whole lot of confidence, because I am half Lebanese, but I grew up in America. I was born in America, and the only cultural exposure I got to Lebanese culture was through my family, and like that was basically just exposure to food and music, and strict parenting. So like I feel like my persona from a cultural standpoint is very much just American. So yeah, I can't really speak on this as much.
And yeah, I do want to ask you something though. So I do notice that you did put Arabic as one of your tags. I know I'm paying attention to your tags a lot, and I apologize.
No, it's
but
okay.
you did make a conscious decision recently to also add Arabic to your tags on Twitch. Is that maybe you considering to delve more into that side of your identity?
Well, I mean, I do occasionally listen to Arabic music on stream. My avatar has, a little bit tanner skin, and sometimes people ask me about that. And like, I definitely embrace the side of me that is Lebanese. But like me putting Arabic as a tag is again for like searchability, because technically, my family is not Arabic. We're I always forget the
Levantine,
word.
was it?
Levantine, yeah, something like that. But nobody's gonna search for that. People will search for Arabic, so I'm fine with just generalizing because I'm half from the Middle East too, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, it was just for like searchability, essentially.
No, yeah, I can attest to that as well because one of my tags is black and black VTuber, and I mean, if anyone here had paid attention to another talk show from a while back regarding black VTubers, there was a lot of there's a lot of discussion about how like there's a lot of different like black. There's Caribbean, there's Afro American. I'm Afro Canadian. I was born and raised in Canada. And now, in regards to the question of how I feel about my cultural masculinity, it's an odd kind of thing because there's two sides of it. One, I was born and raised in Canada, and for anyone who doesn't know things about Canada, is that it's insanely multicultural. We built our entire basically civilization off of immigration. So you have people from all over, and I happen to live in one of the parts that are specifically like extremely dense with multiculturalism. So like you walk down one street, you'll be among those in the black community. You walk down another street, you'll be down in, we'll call it like Chinatown or Little Tokyo. You walk down another street, you'll be in Little Italy. Like where it's insanely like, and once it sounds confusing, but if you know all the ins and outs, like you can get to all these places and experience vastly different cultures just by walking down a certain street. So in terms of culturalism here, I feel like, and this I got this from talking with many people, that the culturalism here is different than if you were to come from a certain place. So my background is Jamaican. So if you're going from the island, the Caribbean islands, they have a very, very different culture. While there's still some overlap, how they interact with other cultures and other people varies a lot greatly. So if I had to say, I don't think I represent, like, if I was talking to my island culture, I don't think I represent masculinity from there a lot because unfortunately there are a few toxic things that go on over there in regards to masculinity as well. I think like if someone just took a surface look at me, they'd probably say like, "Oh, extremely masculine," but then I have some people that would probably describe me as like I don't know, a little fruity. Like I don't mind interacting with anyone a certain way. And yeah, it's just it's I guess it's just the way I was raised, really.
Definitely hold that thought. We're gonna come back to that in a bit, actually.
No problem.
I saw Amaris dropped actually not Amaris, Mystique dropped a follow up in chat. Do you feel pressure to be a cultural ambassador, or something like that? Answer that 110% yes. Like I feel that pressure like every single time. I'm not even joking. I don't. There's gonna be a point where I'm probably more like comfortable with it, but I'm like more cognizant of it now, being that it is API month, and I'm sort of like looking around at like API VTubers and like how few of us there are actually. So let's take another question from chat from Maris.
I can't remember. Did Vaughn get a chance to answer?
Oh sure.
So I'm mostly Native American and Italian, so I really don't have too much cultural masculinity I have to identify with. Basically, I just had to work on anger issues from a young age, so now I'm comfy cozy. So we went from that to lots and lots of therapy.
It's very interesting. You do have a wonderful vibe around you, I think. Like I think it's always like very obvious when I go into your stream, like how calm and soothing it is.
Appreciate that.
So Maris had a question about shipping. How do you handle your image put up with others in a romantic or sexual manner? Do you draw clear boundaries? Something you worry about? Or have people crossed the line already? This is a good question.
I'm gonna jump ahead here and just say I don't think I've had a lot of like shipping art in general, and I have 0 NSFW art.
Hmm.
Mostly because I don't intend to commission any because I don't have any ideas for it. But also, I've had people ask me, and I've said I'm okay with it. I'm okay with either. Just no one's gotten back about them. With me, it's more. And this definitely changes for some people, but I don't hold that much attachment to my VTuber because it's not me. So like it's not my name, it's not how I look. It's my personification online. And if people want to get ship art with me, like or like, suggestive romantic art or even NSFW art, I'm open to it. So obviously like ask me about it, but I'm open to it in most cases. I just no one ever really approaches me about it.
I think this is interesting because as someone who's gotten NSFW artwork with people, probably more than I can count at this point, it's I do wonder occasionally, yes, like if people see me a certain way within their personality, like basically a friend of mine, or like sometimes not even a friend of mine, someone whose design I really like, and I think we'd look good together. Like no one's ever questioned me about it, but I'm sure there are like people thinking about it when they see it. They're like, all right, well, let's deal with those two. Like they are in an intimate like pose here in the art. Do they talk about that? Do they do things like offline, like that sort of thing? No one's really transgressed that boundary with me yet, but I'm sure at some point it's gonna get there. Like, I think it just comes with like tubing in general and sort of opening yourself up to those questions.
I might argue in the opposite direction. I think maybe the more openly lewd a VTuber is, the less likely they are to be shipped. And I think the reason for that is if part of your appeal to your audience is sex appeal, then the people who are watching you and engaging with you, at least part of them wants you for themselves, so they probably don't want to go out and say like, "Oh, I'm shipping them with this person," because then in their mind that puts you in an intimate situation with someone that's not them. So I personally haven't had to deal with any like issues with shipping or anything like that because it just hasn't happened. And I've had like a little bit of artwork with some other people, but like it just that kind of conversation hasn't come up for me because I've just been like openly flirtatious with a lot of people.
I think
And I
like
might
I've
be
definitely
wrong. I just
no,
that's
I've
how I
definitely
see
had
it.
like the same experience that you had, like with flirting with Chad and like sort of being flirty on Twitter and like flirting around and kind of just like getting my boundaries like just transgressed a lot by people to the point where I kind of like held myself back a little bit. And I think that's why maybe I'm not as like openly like I'm lewd, but I'm lewd about myself and my own like interactions. I'm not really lewd with like other people openly
Right.
like that. It's like I'll do a script or an audio. It's just me, you know. Yeah. There's a community
some
dick joke in
people-
here somewhere. Oh my god.
Some people definitely do get very parasocially attached.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm ace, so I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. Anyways, like as you know, after I started doing like the charity stuff, so I'm just like cool. I'm cool with like seeing it. I'm cool with whatever. Like if it's just like Vaughn, sure, cool, whatever. But I have a little bit more attachment with mine. So like the opposite of Malachi, I do have like a connection with my model because it was originally designed off of me. So I'm just like, no shipping. Me, sure, cool, whatever, that's fine. That helps my self confidence. Like getting that spicy art. I'm like, ooh, have like a goal. It's like I got a 6-pack in this picture. It makes me want to like aim towards being healthier to where I could potentially get a 6-pack like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, thankfully I haven't had to deal with much shipping because I'm just like, hey, nope, we're just not gonna go there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this actually brings us a perfect segue into something I really want to talk about, which is feminizing the streamer. So this joke, not this joke. What am I saying? This question, like Lady Mystique helped me workshop. What are your thoughts on feminization as a meme slash joke versus empowerment? So the context for this is that a lot of people, artists and people in general, love to place male VTubers in maid costumes, skirts, traditionally feminine outfits. Seems to be very popular lately. What are your thoughts, guys?
Sign me up.
Well, yeah, the thing about Vaughn has entire like persona, Vaunessa, no?
Yeah. I've had her since I was a 3D model, so I was like, you know what? We'll bring her back to the 2D side.
I don't have any art like that. I never really have. To answer the question, one, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I'm like I said, like maybe it's because like the detachment to my model, but like I'm open to like any kind of like art or anything like that. Like put me in the Kalkini. I don't mind. I think I made a tweet about that once. I didn't actually like get any art of it, but a lot of people were just like, "Oh my god, yeah." I was like, "You guys really eating this up?" And like, I mean, I think as a general statement, like for any kind of artwork that like might breach a boundary, like if anyone draws me in like my regular outfit, like I think that's just what it is. But if you're ever wanting to like change something about someone's design and like present art to them, like I think always asking for consent first, because again, like while it's not the case necessarily with me, a lot of the time there are some people that have a very close attachment. Like you don't know if, oh, you took off a button from this VTuber and that button actually meant something very important to them, or like something along those lines. I always tell people, if like, not that I would ever really plan on doing any kind of face reveal, but like, listen, I'd rock a maid dress IRL. Just know that I'd look like that one big black guy in that TikTok that does the dance. I'd just look like that. That's exactly what you would get. You don't need to look at me. You just look at that TikTok. That's pretty much me.
I'm gonna need it on my desk by 3 o'clock on Monday.
But yeah, and for anyone who is curious, I actually do have a female Sona. I think somebody actually said they were gonna do art of it, and I came up with the name. But so like my name's Malachi, the name would be Kaimala.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's clever.
sometimes the brain works.
See, I was personally thinking you'd go for a different gemstone, like maybe jade.
Ooh.
Nah, it'd be the same gemstone, just
That makes sense.
different name.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely have experience with this topic. As many of you know, I famously have a Mado redeem where I change my reactive to my maid art. And you know, I don't really mind it. If it was up to me, it probably wouldn't happen, but I made it I made it a reward for a charity stream. Oh my god, you did not just do that. You fucking dork. I love it. Yeah, I made it a reward for a charity stream goal that I did a long time ago, back in like October. So, yeah, I just kind of have to deal with it. And like, I don't completely have my ego tied up in my VTuber model. I mean, it has like many similarities with me, but like it also has many dissimilarities. And like, the only thing I don't like about the maid outfit is that it doesn't feel as close to me as my model does. You know, it doesn't feel like I'm expressing myself as genuinely through that model as it does when I'm using my actual design. Because I don't identify myself as having much of a feminine side. And it's not like I have a problem with guys who do have a feminine side. I mean, I'm drinking tea with honey right now, you know, like, and
Wait,
like
that's feminine for
sipping
you?
a glass of wine, you know, like everyone has some feminine elements and some masculine elements, whether it's their tastes or the way they dress or like, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, I personally wouldn't wear a maid dress IRL. That's not something that I'd be comfortable doing. So, yeah, it's just a little bit of like cognitive dissonance to see my character in a maid outfit, but at the same time, it's not like something that goes too far and that I'm not completely comfortable with.
It is definitely, I think, an interesting phenomenon with you, Mai, because like I do see like artists pop into your chat, like, well, can I draw you as a cheerleader? Can I draw you as a yeah?
Yeah, that happened the other day where people wanted to have a competition of who could draw the best gender bent Mito art. And like I got art, like I got cute art of me eating a chocolate bar. I got like, you know, like very not masculine art. And you know, the way I see it is that's like I appreciate people liking my design so much that they want to draw me. And there's nothing more to it than that. It's not art that I'm gonna use to represent my brand, but like it's cool to see people that want to engage with me through their creative mediums.
Absolutely. You look great
That's
as
all it
hell
is.
with like those art pieces. Like they did a good job.
Thanks.
And you know, art is art
Yeah.
for VTubers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mystique had a question. How do you feel about people using feminization as a way to put you down? Because feminine is seen as lesser and beneath the masculine.
I don't personally have experience with that, and I mean, if it has happened to me, I haven't noticed or I've just brushed it off because I can't think of any examples. But if someone's trying to do that, I'll probably just think less of them and move on. You know, like that's feminine presenting people are not beneath masculine presenting people unless they are a bottom and I'm a top. But that stays in the bedroom. They are no less of a person than me. And I would be no less of a person if I had more of a feminine side. So, you know, fuck anyone
See,
who
I
thinks
think
like that.
you're touching on something very important there. And because we all know about this, the overuse of the term bottom as an insult in the VTuber community and what that implies.
Yeah. I'm a strong advocate of not like being a bottom is not an insult. And like I will call people bottoms, but it's only because I know that they are, or that they're like a bottom leaning switch. And like there's a different discussion there, but it's more just that I like to tease the bottom leaning switches. I know that they're switches, but they never show like a dominant side around me. You know. But yeah, bottom is not an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always, whenever I see it, I'm just like, get a new one, guys. Like, please, I'm begging you. There was like
Honestly,
a meme, like, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Kai.
Sorry, I don't even register at this point. Like, I have a thing where like when people try to joke with me, sometimes there are times I just get really literal. So it's like if somebody's just like, oh hey, like Kai, you're a bottom, I'm just like, well actually I'm a switch. But
I have heard you do this, yeah. I've heard
like,
you do this.
and I don't even like register if like they were trying to insult me or tease me or anything. I'm just like, no, I'm a switch. I've told you
Just
guys
matter of
before.
factly corrects. I'm like, nope, you're wrong.
Like it's I feel slumped. Like I look back, I'm just like, oh, was that like that for a lot of things? Because I'm just like I'm that dense sometimes. I apologize, everyone.
No, that reminds me of something. People like to call me a brat a lot.
Oh my god.
And like that's just not accurate because the definition of a brat is like part of the definition of a brat is a submissive person. And I'm not a submissive person.
I get that too,
So,
actually. I get called Bratra all the time. I'm like, what part of me is bratting right now? Explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's wild because like I saw like remember when like Discord had those flowers on around your profile picture, like those
Oh
sakura?
my god, that was such a yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like memes like if you have these in your profile picture, you're a bottom. It's like why? Because I like flowers. Because I think flowers are pretty. What? Means I have to get
Mhm.
penetrated? What?
Wild.
It's just
Yeah.
it's so stupid. Like get a better joke, VTubers.
No, I'm curious about you, Vaughn. Then, like, I
Yeah,
know
I
we've
was gonna
talked about
say.
like how you're like people. You've had to deal with the alpha males. You have to deal with like a lot of stuff. So, what's your experience with like people talking about like bottom or top or whatever?
There's like only 2 or 3 people that I'm really comfortable with. Like, much like Maito, I have a lot that I echo with them. It's like if I know it and I know it to be true and they agree to it and like we've communicated about it and they're okay with it, sure. Like 1 or 2 people, but it's just people trying to feminize me as an insult. Nah, I don't really take offense to that because like I do like traditionally, I know you can't see it, but lots of air quotes, traditionally feminine things, but I also just like self-care and taking care of myself. So I just don't pay any mind to it. It's just kind of funny that they don't ever know like, oh, what if you washed your face and like did a use cleansing scrub? It's like, man, it's never taking care of yourself a day in your life.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so
Mm.
true.
In terms of being feminized as an insult, like what way would it be like an insult? I'm just trying to like think of like ways, I guess, like that would affect me. Because like if somebody's just being like ha ha ha, like what are we in elementary school? Ha ha, ha, you act like a girl. It's like, oh,
Right.
okay. Like is that all you got, buddy? Because I have roasting sessions with some of my friends, okay? Like learn something from them. They know how to freaking hit me where it hurts and still make it funny. Like so like I'm just trying to think because another thing that crosses my mind, and it's something that like I've learned a lot of in the last year, is like gender identity. And I know like as much as anyone tries to say anything to me, like most people see me as masculine.
Hmm.
I doubt I like less than 1% probably see me as feminine in any kind of way. There is I know for a fact that a lot of like even my close personal friends that may identify as masculine or identify as neither constantly get like misgendered and mistreated and otherwise, and is like whenever I think of that, it's just like, well, anything I deal with is like nothing compared to that, and I just don't really care about it because I know that this actually affects certain people.
Definitely.
So
Like, I know
have
I'm
you
never gonna have to deal with it like to that degree.
right? I can see. I see. We have a question here from Faye. I think it's fair to say to the panel are very good at presenting an attractive and sexually appealing side of themselves to the viewers. Do the panelists feel like there are any elements of their personality or behaviors they aren't able to show for fear of counteracting this aesthetic? So essentially, what Faye's saying here is like, you know, we're sexy, but is there something that we aren't showing Chad for fear of not looking sexy?
Yeah, I got this massive wart on my inner thought. No, I'm joking.
You should get that checked out, bro.
Man, I just want head pats, bro.
No, yeah, no, I think I'm comfortable showing like everything about myself that I normally would, you know. Like naturally putting yourself into a sphere as big as Twitch, you're probably not going to be one to one with your actual personality, right? There are some internal boundaries that you don't want to breach, you know. There's some compartmentalization that like you want to maintain so that you can provide the best entertainment possible. Because like to an extent, Twitch chat wants to interact with a real person, but at the same time, like real people go through ups and downs, and like while it's sometimes a good idea to open up with your community about like what's going on in your life and like what's getting you down, uh in general you don't want to bombard them with the minutiae of like negative things that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, because people go to Twitch to escape their own problems. So you don't want to burden them with your own shit. That's basically all that I keep back when I go to Twitch. There aren't any parts of my personality that I am not comfortable with, or that I would feel like makes me look like any less of a person. You know, like I say all the time, like, you know, fuck sex, I just want to cuddle. You know, like there's some days that I don't want to fuck the shit out of you. I just want to curl up on the couch and watch movies, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think like people should have the mindset of like, I need to be the kind of person that people want. You know, people want someone genuine. So be true to yourself, and like to the extent that you're comfortable with.
That is such good advice.
No, yeah, and I think it also leans into like that's why the one I don't want to call it like a meme format, but it kind of was a meme format at the end of the day. Of like, yeah, sex is cool and all, but have you ever done this super platonic thing? Like, it's, but like honestly, like I feel like that hits like a lot of things for like people. Like when you read that, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I would want that with somebody, like over sex. Like, and I brought up that point. I forgot what the actual question was again. Sorry. Can I get a
Male
repeat?
VTubers want only one thing, and it's disgusting. No, but it goes down to essentially boiling down to like, you know, when it comes to shaping your persona, like what are you holding back and what are you showing about yourself? And I think like for all of us here, we're kind of showing our genuine, authentic selves. Like, my outfit's my IRL outfit, and like I just talk about my day at work and stuff like that, and people respond to that. And if you find that sexy, then I don't know why, but thank you, I guess.
I guess I would say my main thing that I'm holding back is so I'm very on the train of mental health. Like everybody should do therapy or whatever is best for them. But I also have a lot of various traumas from my lore TM that I try to keep away from chats. Like sometimes I'll touch on it a little bit much, and I'll be like, "Hey, let's not joke about that." You know, like let's not talk about arson jokes or stuff like that. And it's like I'll be a little bit more gentle about it. So holding back some of the trauma, but also still holding my peace. That's my main thing.
Okay, I remember the question now. In terms of holding things back, that sounds really dumb. So I had a thing where initially I was just like, okay, like when I was coming up with, you know, the idea of wanting to be a VTuber, I was like, what kind of persona do I want to give off? And then I thought about it and I was like, do I want to stream for hours on end holding up a personality that could drop at any point, and then people would be like, whoa, you're acting different? So my answer to that was, I actually don't really hide anything from chat. Like, obviously, aside from like, you know, just general personal things, for like not to dox myself or like be like, I'm not gonna tell you guys, oh hey guys, my mom just came home. She was working out. Like, no, I'm not gonna talk about any of that stuff. I'm talking about what I was doing on stream. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just me, and I feel like that surprises a lot of people. Like when they get to interact with me outside of stream, they're just like, oh, you're just the same guy. Like, yeah. Did you expect something else?
That's true. What else would they expect from you? You're you.
But I feel like that's just my answer to it. Like, I get there's some people that like being more in character, or like, you know, and there's not times like I won't feed into like, you know, if somebody wants to like see me a certain way, I'll be like I'll just reciprocate that a little bit. But for the most part, like you'll see, like I might start streaming some way, but like for most of the stream, I'll just be a little shit. Like I'm playing the new Legend of Zelda game. Like, they gave me glue. You could do anything. I'm messing around. I'm making the weirdest shapes and making it work. I got my chat giving me ellipses all day.
That's hilarious. So I've got a combination of questions here from Pandy Pops and Angel again. And the question essentially is, thoughts on female chatters trying to push with calling you pet names or sexual names, i.e. daddy and stuff. How do you guys deal with parasocial relationships when they are pushing the narrative calling you daddy and such?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You go first.
Oh, shit. That's a big no for me. I have one stream daughter, and she's the only one allowed to call me anything that's close to Papa. I'm just like, that's just a no.
Yeah, that's valid.
Don't call me daddy, please. Don't call me. Don't call me daddy.
Out of all of us, I might
like
be the oldest one, I think, and I'm probably old enough to be called a dad by some of these kids. So let's not open that bag of worms, okay?
Yeah,
that's very valid.
I genuinely just don't like. I don't really like the term daddy. It's like, because it's two things. One is just either like clearly meant like suggestively or sexually.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not for that. And then two, I was about to say a good relationship. I don't have a relationship with my father, period. I never knew my dad. So I don't exactly have like the best relation with like the term daddy or just dads in general. That's not saying like I don't like the idea of dads or anything, obviously not. I'm just saying like hearing the term daddy has always been like something like so alien to me. So I've just never wanted to like that to be me. Now, obviously, you know, in the future, if I ever have a kid and they call me daddy, like it is what it is. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, that's not what I'm talking about in the current context. But yeah, being called daddy by people like either around the same age as me, a little younger, or a lot older than me is like, nah, don't do that, please. Just call me Kai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of experience with people calling me pet names just out of nowhere, even if we haven't like interacted before. Or like if people have seen me around and they know my kind of energy, like sometimes the first time they interact with me, they'll call me darling or baby or something like that. And like darling, I don't mind as much. Like I know what they're trying to do. It's another example of people trying to fast forward closeness with the streamer, with someone they're not close with yet, but they want to be close with, and like it's inauthentic. For me, pet names are reserved for someone that I care about, except for darling. I think darling has been devalued for me enough that I'll use it casually with like a bunch of people, and I don't really care. But baby especially is something that I reserve for like someone that I am intimately involved with. And like it makes me uncomfortable when random people call me baby, or like, you know, daddy. All right, I'll be vulnerable for a second. There are some very random times when hearing it works for me, but in general, it does not. And especially if you don't know me, it does not. So yeah, I think in general, a good rule of thumb is if you're trying to get close with someone, don't call them daddy, because it will just alienate them, unless you know them already.
Yeah.
I think pet names are just a massive turn off for me. It's like I just see it, like especially for people I don't know, and I'm like, you don't know me. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you calling me sweetheart for? Like,
exactly.
You know,
I have like a little stipulation. Whenever I hear like darling or like sweetheart or something, like I immediately like you're fine to call me that. Just know I will immediately pin you as a like a middle-aged or like elderly like granny from the south. That's immediately what I picture you as. Like, I'm sorry, you're opening yourself up if you do that to me. I'm just like the immediate correlation goes there.
As a
And
southerner.
But like my thing is, I've only ever gotten it from people who are trying to like force intimacy with me by like calling me sort of things, and then thinking I would like fold or like respond to it, and it doesn't work because like I just see right through it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really what it is. Now, granted, I think it's different if it's someone that like I have interest in. You know, I think that's a big factor. You know, like if I'm sliding into someone's DMs and they like use pet names with me, I'm like, oh shit, okay. But like in general, if you're in my Twitch chat, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just
No, I
don't
feel
do it.
Yeah, please don't call me baby in Twitch chat. Please don't say mommy's here, by the way. Don't do that. 23-year-old streamer, please don't do that in my chat.
Yes. Who's had that happen to them?
Imagine, dude. Imagine the flip side of that. Like a guy going into a female streamer's chat and being like, "Daddy's here."
Oh,
That's
God.
like an insta ban.
Insta ban.
My God.
You came
Like,
back with milk?
My lord.
That's wild.
Honestly, though, if somebody ever came in with like "Daddy's here" into my chat, I'd probably be like, "After 27 long years, you're finally here."
To be fair, when someone did call me daddy when I was visiting their chat, I did like, yeah, I came back with the milk. What do you want?
Yeah.
But no, like unironically would be like, ugh. But I guess okay. I have a quick question then for everyone.
Yeah.
What? Because there's been a lot of like talk about this term and how it's basically become like this gender neutral, not really like endearment or like meaning anything more, but calling people baby girl.
Baby girl.
I'm cool with it.
I kind of love it, honestly.
I've categorized it in that group of terms that is just widely overused in the VTuber sphere.
Yeah.
Like terms and memes and jokes and all that stuff. You know, that just gets filed away as like someone is just like, you know, low effort trying to interact with someone in the VTuber sphere. You know, it doesn't bother me, but you know, I can see that you're not like putting in effort.
Yeah.
I will confess to calling two people baby girl today, so
Was it in chat and did he use the
it wasn't in chat, it was in chat, just in DMs.
Because you got hit with the baby girl.
Material girl.
Material girl. Oh jeez.
Oh no.
Oh my god, this comment from Eefy. Do you like to roleplay? Depends. Like, do you have a mom kink? Okay, what are you doing? Why is your room while you're online and not clean your dirty ass room?
Oh my god, bro! I've done that before though. Somebody, I can't remember if it was like a meme in chat or somewhere else, but someone was just like, "It's like you could be my daddy," and I'm just like, "Okay, well, how are your grades this year? Well, how's my classes? You get anything for your mom for her birthday?
Want to go outside play catch?
Oh, that actually does remind me. How can I forget this? There's one tiny little stipulation as well with the daddy thing. I have a very, very close friend of mine who we gave each other little cute pet names that we just call each other. And they came up with Gem Daddy. The thing is, they came up with it months ago in my chat and it caught on like fire. I have not gotten rid of it. I've accepted it now as a community meme. If anyone ever tried to unironically call me Gem Daddy, it's a different story. But yeah, I just remembered that's a thing that.
Gem Daddy, are you rock hard for me?
Oh my god. It would have cost you $0 to not say that.
Sorry, I need to go hurl all this tea I've been drinking.
No, Kai, please don't leave. That was a joke.
Oh boy.
No, I think Gem Daddy's cute, especially if it's like
That's a good
organically created in your community.
Yeah.
And it's not something that makes you uncomfortable, then that's all fine. But yeah, I like it. Gem Daddy.
No, EC, I will not say it again. So, I'm gonna go back to a question from earlier on in chat from Naji. I noted a couple of you have stepped into the lewd LootTuber ASMR space and have just streamed regularly before you started lewd streaming. Did you decide to start doing it because it's becoming more common, especially among male VAs, and you thought, "Oh, cool, that's something I want to do. Can I do that now?" Or do you feel pressure to step in that space due to high demand for it?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I feel like I can speak on that, considering that I'm actively exploring that side of this sphere. I did not feel any pressure to go in that direction whatsoever. Well, okay, let's talk about my origin story for a small amount of time.
Absolutely.
So, like, I didn't always used to be a VTuber, but after I became a VTuber, I became friends with Mrs. Mummy. And like she started interacting with my stuff and like being flirtatious and like retweeting me, and like she's a big reason why I got kicked started on Twitter, you know. But like being introduced to that side of Twitch or that side of like VTuber culture kind of like opened my eyes to it. I didn't realize that it existed. Because the VTubers that I had been a part of their communities in the past were not lewd VTubers. So I was like, "Whoa, this exists!" And then I started like interacting with it and realized that I enjoyed interacting in that way. So it was more of like there was no pressure whatsoever. But like after I was introduced to it, I enjoyed it and wanted to explore more of it. So yeah, that's basically it. Like no pressure. And I wouldn't look down on anybody who does not want to engage sexually or like flirtatiously with people in the VTuber sphere, because like that's not a fair expectation to have for every person.
I think this is an interesting question because I'm sure most of you know at this point. I am a lewd ASMR writer, and I've been making like content that's meant to be like, short, digestible, 2-minute bites on Twitter that go viral and people really like to do. And I see more of my friends doing it who were, say so or just lewd some. And I do kind of wonder, like, part of me is like kind of proud of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm unlocking that in you. Like, I was like, because I like lewd content. I really think everyone should do it. Like, I think like that hard wall we put up where like it's either you lewd or not is kind of unfair. But like, I do kind of see like myself like wonder. I do wonder from time to time, like, all right, is this person like being lewd or acting lewd because they think I want to act lewd? Because I don't need that from you necessarily. I interact with safe streamers. I love them. Like, you don't need to read a script of mine for me to like pay attention to you or be like, oh, you're a great streamer or a great entertainer. You know what I mean?
Like, I love your scripts, honestly. I've been trying to practice up because my other hat, I'm not going to talk about this a lot. My other hat is working with voice actors and a lot of fun things like that and getting to know them and working with them.
Oh.
And I was like, I want to do your scripts. I just need to like practice, get my recording space. And I was like, your writing's really good. And at some point in the near future, I'm going to be seeing some of the ones I haven't seen in a while. I'll be like, hey, check out this. But no, I think you're helping people just break that boundary. It's like not because they feel they are entitled to do so, but I think you're helping them push themselves out of their comfortable level safely because you're giving them a safe place to interact with that kind of media, with adult media. So that's my 2 cents on that last part.
Okay. I have a bit of an interesting thing with this. So initially when I started, I switched to being like, at first I was initially gonna be like all ages content, but then I realized I don't want to deal with minors in my community, so I switched to just being 18 plus. But like, didn't really change how I acted. I still haven't really. But there was definitely a time when I was almost excluded from certain things because people thought I was like 100% say so. And I remember when that got brought up to me, I was like, wait, what? Since when? Like, I know I don't say anything really, or like tweet how down bad I can be, but that doesn't really make me say so. Um, and so I remember there was a time when I felt like I had to, I guess, make up for it. And like, so I tried to be like a little flirty. I tried to have that phase where it was like, be a little flirty, be a little more like, I don't know, like a little more into fan service and stuff. That didn't really stick long. But then I found Atras scripts as well. And I remember that, I remember when I first recorded some of them, even the more lewd ones, like it was actually a lot of fun. And I got some good responses to them, but like that didn't necessarily change like how I typically interact with people. It was just like me reading a script. And so I think I've hit a good like.
Even I was surprised that you like read Devour.
Yeah, Devour was the one everyone throws back at me. It's just like, Kai, I heard your Devour recording. It's like, oh boy. I actually, there's a few people I met recently. They'd be like, oh yeah, like you do some like really good voice acting work. Like you have an amazing voice. I'm like, oh yeah. Like I have a few things out there. I even have a song cover out. Like what do you hear? I'm like Devour. I'm just like, you're right. I forgot that was out there. But no, it's a fun vibe, and I'm glad that people enjoy it, and I plan to do more in the future. We'll see when that comes out.
As the phase question in chat right now about male VAs being about adult performers being interchangeable, I'm not seeing that, to be honest. Having worked with like a variety of male VAs at this point, each of them having their own various ways of putting spins on things. But I'm not in the industry though. Like I'm not in the VA industry in the slightest. So I think some of the other fellows here can give more insight to that.
Sorry, in terms of
whether male VAs are considered interchangeable for productions, like say dubbing something or like fan projects or even something professional.
I feel like there do need to be more male VAs. There are more coming on the scene. Like I know Maito said recently that he's got a role that he'll probably want to talk about. I know Poppy just got one, but like for a long time it was like just Travis Willingham, fortunately Vic, and there's like only like 5 or 6 that would get like the big main dubbing things. But I really do feel like there needs to be more options. Because there's so many different range. We don't need the standard protagonist voice for every single character.
I think that's the great thing about VTubing. It's exposed like the wide variety of male voices there are, and ways to portray masculinity in voices that are beyond just like the very conventional, like very deep voice, or like it's the standard villain voice, or the standard like shonen voice.
Yeah, and I can actually speak a little on this because I'm still very, very fresh. I wouldn't even say I've really gotten started in like my voice acting career, but I want to. But I did apply for a few things, and I've heard the recordings of the other people who were attempting for the same position. And there's 2 things. One, out of the people that I was recording the same lines as, there were a variety of voices. While we all still kind of had the similar, because the voice was for a deeper, older gentleman. The voices were alike, but also not alike, because obviously everyone has their own inflections and whatnot, as well as like how they approach the line, like their own understanding how to approach the line. And so that's one thing I thought was different. And then the other thing I noticed was just looking at all the male roles in general. I looked at half of them because like obviously if I could apply for more I would, but I looked at them, I was like, I, as much as people would like my voice, and I know that people say they like my voice, but my voice wouldn't fit half of these characters. And so that's why I agree. There is definitely like a lot of room for diversity and different voices to be heard in these roles because they can all bring different energies and different sounds.
Absolutely.
That's a good point, but as far as like the voice acting side of things, I've been encouraged to, even when you see those roles that you don't think your voice would be a good fit for, try them anyways. Because the more you try things that are outside of your comfort zone with your voice, the more you'll develop your scope. And it's not like submitting one audition that isn't perfect is going to ruin your voice acting career, you know? Especially if it's somewhere, you know, like on Casting Call Club or something like that, where it's just like very, like a lot of people are submitting a lot of applications and auditions, and like you'll send like 50 out and maybe get like a few roles. And a lot of times it is just because like your voice isn't what the production is looking for, and that's totally fine. But like, I think while there are many types of voices, you can also develop your voice to, you know, just tackle more of a scope than you currently have.
No, that is true. I definitely see the logic in that.
There's 100% of the shots you don't make.
Exactly. Yeah, like a good example is I auditioned for a fan dub of Honkai Star Rail, and like I auditioned for every single male role that was available, and I received 2 upvotes on two, like one upvote on 2 of my submissions, and they were for Arlen and Yanqing, 2 of the voices that I thought were like less comfortable for me because they were much higher register. Um, but like I still like gave it my best shot, and I guess like um that got a little bit of attention from somebody. So you never know.
I see Tay is incredulous that over Arlen and Yanqing.
Yeah.
I think that just goes to show that Mai's an amazing up and coming VA.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can voice all the little boys.
Are they little boys? Is that what it is?
I mean, Yanqing is what, like 13?
Oh my god.
Oh jeez.
Maito's in his shonen protagonist art.
Oh no.
Blades ascend!
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, I think he nailed it.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's hilarious, dude. Alright, I'm gonna go back to a question from Reina Mako, who asks, what's a form of masculinity you guys have experienced in life that, in your opinion, is something you don't agree with? For example, my dad thinks a masculine trait is being a protector, whereas my friend's dad thinks being masculine is playing sports or having a high body count.
I think being masculine is accepting all parts of yourself and not being afraid to show them. You can be masculine as fuck and, you know, sip tea and read a book, you know. I don't know. Let someone else talk.
You're right. I think this does kind of go into something that I did want to discuss, which was, what are some male VTuber tropes that you dislike or think are invalid? And I'm gonna come out here and just be a little controversial and be like, the himbo one, the thing where like people call you like a himbo because you make a mistake or something after streaming for like 5 hours or something like that. It's kind of silly.
I literally tweeted about this today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
check that.
English degree.
Yeah, my English degree. I can read the tweet if you want.
Oh,
Yeah, go for
right,
it.
I do. Okay, I remember.
Yeah, because somebody somebody had tweeted like recently saw a comment where someone was surprised a VTuber was educated question mark
Oh,
question
yeah.
mark. So I said, I don't like to brag or bring it up, but I endure the himbo jokes because I know I'm not one. I earned a degree in English with a minor in psychology, and that shit says summa cum laude. For those of you who don't know, that means I got a 4.0.
God damn.
And like I don't like to bring it up because I don't want to brag.
Not
But
bragging.
I know that I'm intelligent and like everyone does dumb shit. When you're live on Twitch, you are focusing on so many things. You're focusing on talking as much as possible. You're focusing on video games. You're reading chat. Like your brain is in a million places at once. So of course you're gonna say some dumb shit or do some dumb shit sometimes, and nobody should ever feel bad about that. That doesn't make you a himbo. That just makes you a streamer.
Yeah. One thing I'll say, actually, no, two things. One, my 100% brag about that. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause you,
100%.
no,
That's
literally,
amazing.
you literally, like, you got a great grade. You got a great average grade for your time in school. And you graduated with essentially top marks. Like,
Mhm.
what isn't the brag? Like, and that's one thing I want to, like, bring up that, and I feel like this might be targeted a lot more towards masculine VTubers, but like just any VTubers or anyone in general. But if someone wants to celebrate their success, don't put them down for that. That's stupid. Why would that why would my talking about how he got a 4.0 for his English degree like be any kind of, oh, look at him gloating over everyone else? Let's like, he put in the time. He went to school and he aced it. Like,
Mhm.
why do you have an issue about that?
And it's
Now,
wild too. Like, oh, go ahead, my guy.
and then to completely sound not so as eloquent as I just did, yeah, I'm a dumbass. So I let people call me a himbo because I call myself a himbo. I'm genuinely stupid a lot of the times. And like, yes, it is 100% because I'm streaming and I'm focused on a million things. But I like, I do some really dumb things, guys. Like even when I'm just talking in normal conversation with a friend, I'll say something. They'll be like, "Wait, what?" I'll be like, "Wait, what?" And then it's just like I just brain empty.
Well, see, there's two things. Number one, you're not done. Number two, your emotional intelligence is like off the roof, like amazing. Like you're one of the most
Preach.
emotionally intelligent guys I know.
I just try to make sure everyone has a good time.
But it's wild though. Like people would never like. Maybe people do. Maybe I don't watch enough like lady VTubers, but people wouldn't just come into chat and call them a bimbo like off the bat like that. I think that's something
Mhm.
uniquely that happens to male VTubers, where like people think it's okay to like just slap that on somebody, like, oh yeah, you're a himbo, you're an idiot, you're dumb, you know.
That's a really good point.
No, that's fair.
Vaughn, do you have experience with this?
Yeah, I kind of roll with whatever. Like I ran a successful business for 11 years, and I don't know. I travel. I've been to like 500 conventions doing the like photography and marketing, all of that. It's like I know I have a lot of intelligence at certain things. Like sure, maybe it's not book smarts, but like it doesn't really offend me either way. It's like I'm pretty cool with just about anything short of just like attacking me outright, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as like you give me basic decency, you can call me a himbo, but at the end of the day I know I'm not.
No, yeah. And I will say, like, and I know there's probably a different word for it. I'll openly call myself dumb because I do feel dumb sometimes. That doesn't say that's not to say I'm stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the two words mean different things. Like dumb meaning I do a lot of stupid things in general, but stupid would be like I don't have like any kind of smarts at all. Like I've gone to school, guys. I'm in school actually still, and I'm going into my 4th year. So like I'm almost done, hopefully.
You got this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
almost there.
But it's so yeah, it's not to like say like I consider myself of lower intelligence. It's just I know like I will do insane things and people will question it. And I'm just like, yeah, I wasn't thinking. I genuinely will not be thinking for a lot of decisions I make. So
You know where your intelligence lies and where it doesn't.
exactly.
Exactly.
And if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, then you're going to fail it. Like, you're going to think it's an idiot.
That's actually such a good analogy. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
excellent-
think it was Albert Einstein that said that.
Yes, I think it was Einstein.
Damn.
Yeah, there's many kinds of intelligence, and like when it comes to VTubing, like being smart or being even emotionally intelligent is not prerequisite for being a good VTuber or being a good entertainer, you know?
Mhm.
But boy, does it help.
True.
But like this whole himbo thing is something that just got legs and just kind of ran out of control, honestly. It's like calling people bottom. It's like these tropes that like people
Yep.
just have. That if they watch like 10 male VTubers, that's like the only way they can relate to all 10 of them. Rather than taking the time
Yeah.
to actually know them as a person or entertainer.
Yeah. And I gotta call it out just because I saw it in chat and I love D&D. Yes, another good analogy for those who play D&D is the difference between intelligence and wisdom. And there's
Yeah.
like wisdom is essentially like street smarts and like just knowing how to act in a situation versus intelligence being like, oh yeah, let me recite to you page 100 of this textbook I found. Like,
A good one that I've heard is intelligence is knowing that tomatoes are fruits, but wisdom is not putting tomatoes in your fruit salad.
mm,
That's a
Yeah.
good one. I like that.
yeah.
What's the one I had on top? I tipped my tongue. I just like lost it. Something about intelligence being when to keep your mouth shut. Oh, it's better to keep your mouth shut and be assumed to be an idiot than to open and remove all doubt. I love that
Yeah,
I
feel
love
that.
Spend a lot of time listening.
Oh, so much time listening. Oh boy.
Absolutely.
That's what pigeons do. They listen and learn.
So when are you gonna reveal yourself as actually being the FBI VTuber, huh?
Well, what had happened was.
Well, see, the thing is, Akai, like, you don't have to worry about the FBI. It's the Postmaster General you have to worry about the most.
It's me. I've got your internet history.
Oh no.
Don't fuck with the post office. They know where you live.
Damn right they do.
FBI actually stands for Feather Boy Initiate. So I see a great point in chat here from Arius Viridian. Welcome in. The main issue is people assume you're a YouTuber. They can just flirt or message you without consequences. That's a great point, actually. So I guess that does sort of go into a question I had here. We did touch on it a little brief, but I do want to revisit it. Which is, how do you deal with sexual advances or aggression from followers? Do you feel expectations to be able to transgress your consent are different because you're masculine presenting? I'm going to say yes. And not just from personal experience. But I definitely think there is a level of quote unquote put up with it for like male VTubers because like you're supposed to take these advances, especially for a YouTuber, like, you're supposed to just take that as like a normal interaction with you. Where if somebody is like, you know, like, and I give a great example, like if I'm on like the other site and someone may come in like asking for like control of my device, like that is something where it's like, well, hold on, I don't even know you. Why would you assume it's okay to ask for that?
Well,
I'm sorry if that's not a relatable example.
I know
No,
the
no.
reverse happens a lot too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know there are a lot of aggressive, like sexually aggressive males that go into female VTuber chats, and like I've had friends tell me about the kinds of shit that guys do, and it's gross. But there's like a general consensus in the sphere that it's gross when guys do stuff like that. But on the flip side, I think it's taken less seriously when females do that, like when women do that to
Absolutely.
men.
Yeah.
It's seen more like a compliment, you know? Like guys should just take it like a compliment because you know, that's just kind of how how the dynamic works in society for the most part. Like the way the dynamic works is women get to be selective. Like women are the people who get hit on. That's established in society pretty much.
Mhm.
And guys are the ones that do the hitting on, you know? But like when the reverse happens, it's like, oh, that's like special. You should cherish that. You should like embrace it. Or at least that's how it feels, or it used to feel, before it like started happening a lot. And then once it did start happening a lot, I was like, you know what? Not all of this makes me comfortable. And like I think you can absolutely be selective with what you engage with, and I don't know where I'm going.
You're right. You're right. It says Guy is saying in chat right here. It's yikes. It doesn't matter who does it. If it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And yeah, I would agree with chat right now. Like, there is definitely the sort of sense that you should be honored, or like, you know, if someone's flirting with you like that, that it's flattering. Whereas it generally may not be, especially in the context of things.
I actually have a thought on that.
Yeah.
So follow me on this. I think that if somebody's like hit on once in a blue moon, then it's flattering. I think as soon as like it becomes a constant thing, like say with many VTubers where they're getting simped over, and then people try to like push it too far, then it becomes creepy.
Mm. You'll definitely see some people hit a breaking point in chat.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you can sort of like roll off before it becomes too much, constantly batting off people's advances. And it's not flattering. Like, if you're not welcoming it. Like, I understand it can be flattering for some people, but it always depends.
Yeah. I remember I've told this to a few people where, funnily enough, VTubing, I had to learn how to be objectified.
Yeah.
Because the reason for that, I started VTubing last year. So for 24 years of my life, I never really experienced like any kind of like positive attention, like in that way, from my preferred sex. So when it came to VTubing, and then I started getting compliments about my voice, about how I looked, and even for some people that have seen, like, who actually have seen what I look like IRL, like getting, like I know I've lost like a little bit of weight recently, but like getting compliments from people like around my age, being like, "Oh, you look so handsome," like, or things like that is like, and then like dealing with the more extreme sides, like when I'm VTubing, it's like I've never dealt with that before, and I've never like experienced that before. And then like part of my thought process with it, like as I was getting used to it, was just like, oh, so is this what like a lot of my female friends are telling me they have to deal with all the time? That's crazy.
Yeah, I had
Like
like
like I literally had this eureka moment where I was just like, oh, this is what they're dealing with. That's wild to me. And then like I'm only dealing with this really because I'm a hot gem guy. Like, cause yeah, I know I'm a hot anime guy. And I have like a voice that people find attractive. But it's crazy that there's some people that's like you can turn off, because like I can still go outside these days. And like I'm not getting like catcalled or anything, or I'm not really getting like checked out. But like to think that people like have to deal with that like on stream and then possibly off stream as well is like that's just where my mind goes with it. I'm just like, maybe I'm in the minority of people that like end up thinking about that, but like that's just where my mind goes.
No, you're 100% correct. You and I are actually a lot more alike than I realized, I think. Because I definitely like had started up VTubing for almost the same reasons. Living in New York City and sort of dating here and having a lot of issues with it and not feeling attractive. and sort of I'm feeling more and more like by VTubing, I'm getting to be more comfortable showing myself and being myself, being like a brown skinned like Asian man, and like feeling for the first time in a long time like attractive, you know.
Hell yeah.
But it does come with its downsides, and I think this is exactly what Maris is trying to get at here. Noticing the female gaze is insane for y'all. Has it changed our perception of attraction? I would say absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Strong
it
yes.
really has.
I think a lot of guys tragically are starved of affection. You know, there's a lot of discussion about how you know, women compliment each other all the time, but when men receive a single compliment, it makes their whole month. You know, they remember that shit. It sticks with them because it doesn't happen often. And you know, I, like many men, have been affection starved for a large part of my life. And you know, when I started getting attention from women on Twitch, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is like, I can't believe this is happening. I never thought something like this would happen to me. And then after engaging with it for a while, like a few months went by, and I realized, you know, this isn't really filling my cup. You know, this is all very superficial. And like, I feel like I'm like, I used to think like if I was, you know, conventionally attractive, if I was like 6'3" and, you know, I got all this attention from women, my life would be so much better. But like getting all of that attention doesn't change anything fundamentally. It just changes the types of problems that you deal with. And like, I personally don't feel fulfilled when a random person compliments me. You know, like it's nice to hear compliments about my voice because that's primarily what I'm putting out there. But like also the more you hear it, the less it means. And at the same time, like it's I feel like it's not like when it doesn't come from someone you care about deeply, it just doesn't mean as much either.
I am realizing that we are a lot more alike than I realized. God damn, dude. Fuck.
Damn, this entire podcast just turning into man just like me for real, for real.
It is, but like I feel we just don't talk about this sort of stuff, and like now that we're putting it out in the open, we're like realizing a lot of the stuff we're doing with is very common.
Yeah.
True. Me personally, I since 2007, I've basically been doing like anime conventions and stuff like that. So I've kind of got a precursor to all of this. So anime cons are very much so like VTubing, social constructs, being biased on like appearance, just anything, right? So I had to learn early on. I had to go through my little toxic Vaughn phase for a little while. And then I was just like, once I got to VTubing about 3 years ago, I was like, hey, we're going to learn from my mistakes as a teenager and from our early 20s. And just like going to later 20s into 30, you're just like, hey, we're gonna be gentle with ourselves. We're gonna be taking care of ourselves. And I like what you said earlier. It's like I try to provide like a very soothing, calming vibe, and I'm just like, I just want to be friends. I don't want to deal with anything more. Don't come at me. It's like, just be cool. That's all I ask. Unfortunately, I had to learn a lot earlier than I probably should have on some of these social issues to kind of give myself some boundaries. But felt like I came in knowing a little too much and knowing what to expect, and I've kind of successfully avoided many bullets, as you would say.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what boundaries you have until they're crossed.
Yes, that's exactly true.
For sure.
Especially when you're exploring new content.
No, exactly. Like this is a new space. Like I know with me, I never like streamed anything prior to VTubing. And then I got my design, and then the love and affection started coming in, and then it was kind of just like, whoa. I genuinely did not know how to react. Like at first, I could barely take the compliments about my voice because I've heard myself in recording. I don't think my voice sounds great, but that's because everyone hates their own voice.
Mhm.
And like now I've changed it to like I'll accept the compliment. I'll like phrase it in a way where some people will still hate me for this, but I'll phrase it in a way where it's like I understand that you find my voice appealing. And I'll just leave out the unspoken I disagree, but thank you. But it's just like I said, it's a lot to get used to, especially like as we've talked about, like not like being like attention starved and not getting that like the type of attention that you want, and then suddenly getting it all at once out of nowhere.
Starvation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is actually like a funny thing to think about with this too. Like the way we're all talking about it too, we're just kind of sounding like old war veterans. But like it's funny if you give it's funny if you give, this is a real fact too. If you give somebody who is starving a bunch of food all at once, that is actually a detriment to them.
Absolutely.
You have to slowly give it to them over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild because like I've only been at this 6 months, like, and I think I've been through like entire VTuber arc at this point.
Oh no, yeah, I feel that with my soul.
Mm-hmm. This shit's cyclical, bro.
Yeah.
Boy.
And it's like no one knows like where this is gonna go. Like the meta is always changing. Social media is wild. Like Mine's gonna test this. Like how things just constantly ebb and flow on social media.
Yeah, and I feel like my brain, in regards to social media, ebbs and flows as well.
Yeah,
But that's a different topic.
It is. I'll briefly touch on it. Like, it has been such a great tool for me, going from like some guy who like modded for people to like an actual streamer myself to use Twitter to connect with other people. But I do see the pitfalls. I see the people who just dump constantly on Twitter, or the people who start shit, or like get absorbed with like streamer drama, and it pains me because like it's just that's not a good growth strategy. It never is, never will be. No.
but see,
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't want to go too far into it because it's not fully the topic, but I feel like in terms of like when you talk about growing as a VTuber, I feel like people will say it, but not everyone has what I like to call a business mindset. Which isn't to say like I don't. It's not like I think of VTubing purely as a business. Like obviously I do it because I have fun doing it, and doing it because it brings me personal enjoyment. But I feel like if you want to grow, you have to think about it. Okay, well, how do I grow? What is a business plan that I can put in motion to assist in my growth?
Yeah, and I think that's the key word is like not everyone is trying to grow on this platform. And that's totally fine. You can have streaming be a hobby and that's fine. But like when I see people complaining like, man, why am I not growing? And then I see the stuff that they're doing, I'm like, bro.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to succeed? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I will steer us back to the topics. So I'm actually going to start. It's about 10:30, so I'm going to start steering us a little bit towards conclusion. But I did have some final questions from chat that I wanted to touch on. So let's talk about love bombing, and this is from Mystique. What are your experiences with people doing things like showering you with art, money, other things to try to get your attention?
I've had somebody love bomb me in the past, and I'm not gonna mention names, obviously, but like, it's just like they would like come into my DMs and just like shower me with all this praise, like literal paragraphs that I did not ask for, just like
my God.
out of nowhere, just coming into my DMs, just giving me paragraphs of like, you're amazing, you're inspiring, like I adore you, like all this shit, like telling me like how great I am as a person, as a content creator. I'm like, and like that they care about me. I'm like, whoa, slow down.
Mhm.
It's like, especially like that started when I first met them too. Like shortly after I first met them, they were like very overly positive and like very overly affectionate, and like with things like this, balance is very important, because if you go overboard, you will alienate people. But
Mhm.
if you go underboard, like if you undershoot and not you don't give someone enough affection, they might think they're not interested in you, or you sorry, they might think that you are not interested in them, um,
Mhm.
whether it's for friendship or a relationship or whatnot. I think affection is important, but I'm not a fan of love bombing,
You can always tell, I
especially.
think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and like it always leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
I feel like love bombing, and this isn't to say like this isn't to like make fun of it, like with this use of wording, but I feel like it almost comes across as a little bit desperate.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like it's not be like, oh my god, look at this person, they're so desperate. No, it's like it seems like you're someone that's not gotten a lot of like, and as we've been talking about, like positive attention, and it looks like you're really trying to cling to that little bit that you're getting, which me almost like it almost makes me feel bad for some people because like that's a very real thing, and it does seem like it's genuinely like they're really trying to hold on to it like very tightly, but
Hmm.
almost like you're choking it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It has always felt very artificial to me. Like I can just tell that your praise is generic. We've just met. You don't know me.
Mhm.
You probably send this to a lot of people, and you think this is the way to like make friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. That's exactly right. It's another fast forward to closeness tactic, I think.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with what Renry said before what happened. I've had several people just like love bomb me, and then as soon as I did not reciprocate, they just completely cut me off. And I've had people that would like love bomb me with intention to like clout chase. Oh no, it
Mm.
was weird.
Mm.
They would only talk to me because like I don't care about numbers. It doesn't really matter to me of like followers. If I think you're cool, you're cool. Like, but they were just talking to me because I had like double their following, and I was like, okay, cool. They would just be like, how'd you do X, Y, and Z? And like, oh, like if anybody has questions for like how to set up like certain things or stream or how I learn marketing, it's like sure, I'll help with that. But like
Mhm.
you can kind of tell intentions like and how
Hmm.
things are specifically asked over a time. Um,
Yeah.
It's
sucks.
exactly
Yeah.
as Faye is saying in chat. Nobody wants to get used as a stepping stone.
No,
Exactly.
absolutely. And also, like, on the topic of love bombing, like, because I've dealt with love bombing. Love bombing doesn't always have to be like immediate as well. It can be like if there's a sudden shift in like a relationship, or like your relationship with another person. They could have been a friend, they could have been an acquaintance for a long time, and then there could be a shift, and then all of a sudden, like the paragraphs keep coming, like you said. It always just depends because like I know I've sent people those paragraphs just telling people how much I appreciate them because I feel like one those words like those genuine words aren't shared enough. I
Hmm.
personally feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know there are times when I will like if I haven't spoken with someone in a while or I've met someone recently and like we've hit it off and we have hung out a few times. I tend to like to send people messages just to be like, hey, like especially like I I don't like to do it if I see they're just about to like or they've just like hit like a tough patch in life. Like I try not to like be like, "Oh, hey, I saw this. How are you?" No, I try to be more like just out of the blue, just like, "Hey, no, we haven't chatted in a while, but I hope you're doing well and just know I think you're an awesome person and I really appreciate your company whenever we are able to hang out." It's things like that.
Hmm. But I think it's different when you have an established relationship with someone and both of you are on the same page versus someone
Mhm.
who's trying to get closer to you, and
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
hearing that kind of stuff, like I agree those words need to be spoken between people who care about each other, but like when someone who I don't know very well is coming to me and saying those things,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
alienates me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's just so generic, so artificial.
Yeah, and I think it can also be done too much even between people who do care about each other.
Mm.
Like kind of going off of something I said earlier, if you say something too much, it loses value. That's something that I've personally experienced. Like I am a pretty affectionate person with people I'm intimate with, and like in the past, I've been overly affectionate, and it's kind of like pushed some people away. So like it's just something to be conscious about. Like I know a lot of you probably have a lot of love that you want to share with people, but sometimes you just have to express it in less direct ways, or else it can overwhelm them.
Absolutely. You have
Moderation.
to absolutely like you have to know how people want to be loved and what people need. And you
Hmm.
should also constantly be reassessing what people need, care about them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and what people need from you, because they might
Yeah.
need some things, but you might not be the right person to give it to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
110%. Because there are a lot of relationships out there where like someone may need intimacy, like of a sexual variety, and
Mhm.
you're not that person to give it to them. Like if you're their friend, whatever it is, it's like you should not be looking at that as an opportunity or something like that. Like I
Hmm.
have many friends who like I am platonically friends with and like will never cross that boundary with them. I know they
Mhm.
may need that attention, but not from me, and that's fine. And you should still
Yeah.
remain friends with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No one to back off, as Ren says.
Hmm.
Yeah. Knowing to back off and give space is huge.
Exactly. Because people are always changing, especially as they experience things as VTubers. Like the person that you knew 3, 4 months ago as a streamer is a different person now. And in its core, we're all people. We all underneath all the numbers and the avatars, we're people, and our needs are always
Mhm.
changing.
Very true.
I think one of the biggest things is, as everybody's mentioned, just like you need to know what kind of love people need, but it's like moderation is key and consent is mandatory. But it's like you can give gentle affirmations, just don't do it too much, don't lose the meaning, but right
Mhm.
time, right place. Like if somebody
Hmm.
just immediately posted, "Oh, I lost everything," they don't probably need you, like, because they're gonna have like 100 people coming up
Yeah.
to them,
Yeah,
bombarding them.
Yeah.
You can send them a little GIF and then back off, and if they're ready, they'll come reach out to you if they're one of the people they feel comfortable with. It's like, unfortunately, you can't be friends with everybody. That's something I've learned, as with my
Mhm.
golden
Yes.
retriever personality.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Nor should you be friends with everybody.
yep.
Nobody has the energy to be friends with everybody.
absolutely.
Like
Hey,
I love meeting new people, but I'm hesitant to like connect with new people on in a serious way because I already tend to neglect the friends that I already have. And I don't
Mhm.
want to, just add to the list of people that I'm not treating as well as they deserve.
Yeah. I remember I actually had a phase like a couple months back where I went to some of my closer friends and I just apologized to them because I realized that there is a time when I was not I just wasn't being a friend. Like I wasn't around, I wasn't available. I just was not a friend. And I've reconciled most of them. Because like again, those were all people that I genuinely felt like I want to be around and I want to interact with. That I wasn't like, but it felt like I had grown distant. Um, and it sucks because yeah, like in this space of meeting new people constantly and wanting to keep up those new connections and meet more new people, you always got to keep in mind like the people that have been with you as well for long periods of time, and not saying like the whole, because it is a little toxic if you get into the whole like, oh well, I was friends with you first, so like you should always like keep me in mind.
Right.
but to the degree of make sure you're showing the proper attention to those that have been around and have been wanting to interact with you. Like, especially if you have been interacting with them in the past.
Yeah. I think like streamers nor friends are stepping stones.
Mhm.
It feels bad to be close to somebody and then have them stop getting back to you, but you see them being active with other people. And I'm guilty of doing this as well. But like it's just a sad reality, I guess, of the VTubing space currently. I think a lot of people are guilty of that as well. And it does suck. Yeah, just something
It
to
is-
notice, I guess.
It is difficult because there are people when you start this journey, you get close to, and for like no one's fault, they drop off. Like they don't, you're not actively engaging, and because we're all busy too. We have jobs, we have lives. We can't sit on Discord all day and talk to people, which we would like to. But yeah, like, and this is like advice I give people, and it's not like original advice, but I do want people to remember, like, people might forget what you say to them. People might not remember what the times you had together, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Mhm.
and that's the most important thing. So, what are you doing to
Absolutely.
like make people feel validated, appreciated? Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now, I think.
Mhm.
Right.
That is very deep.
Was it? I don't know.
No,
Appreciate
no,
it.
it was good.
Man. All right, chat. Do you have any other questions for our panelist here?
What you got?
Yeah. And
Bring
just
it
a mixed
on.
bag. It doesn't have to be masculinity. Anything you want to know about like us four. Because I think we've had some pretty excellent like takes tonight about like the Twitch meta, being masculine in general, being male VTubers. Like, what an excellent conversation. Like, I'm learning so much. About like that other people have going through the things that I've gone through. I'd say that. Like, and maybe that's on me for not having that conversation with like other male VTubers, but glad we had it now.
Oh yeah, Efi asked a question about I think if we prefer to stream solo with
Mhm.
groups of girls or with
Ooh.
the
I have
homies.
I have a question here actually.
Yes.
So from Yifi TV, okay, maybe a less intense question. As a male VTuber, do you find yourself preferring to stream alone with a bunch of girls, or really wanting to stream with the bros?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take this one, and nobody judge me.
Go for it.
For the first couple of months of my VTubing, I became infamous as the guy who would stream with like a bunch of ladies in VC. And was it fun? Absolutely. I really, really enjoyed it because like those were like my good friends, and I really sort of like enjoyed like demonstrating like what it looked like to be like masculine, but also like to have like platonic good relations with people. But like I've come to realize that like there's also power in this like streaming by yourself, especially if like as you said, a business oriented mindset, and also a great sort of value in like making masculine friends and stream with your bros. Like I have not streamed with my bros yet in any kind of way. Like I may not have that many of them to be honest, but I think balance is good. Is kind of where I'm at with that. Like, do I enjoy streaming a lot of ladies? Absolutely. Like I will not be shy about that. I like my ladies, but like balance is good too.
I personally don't care about your gender as far as friendship goes. I've streamed with guys, I've streamed with girls, I've streamed with mixes. Like when I used to do the drunk Valorant nights, I think I mostly had women, but that's just because I know more female VTubers than male VTubers, and not many people were available at that time. You know, like, and whenever possible, I tried to include my male friends in that as well. But personally, I prefer to stream solo because um, a lot of times in collabs, I notice that my flow is a lot more dependent on what the other person is doing, and I take them a lot more into account. And a lot of times it like messes things up for my flow. Like if they're taking time to talk to their chat, if they're also live, a lot of times I won't really know what to say. Whereas if I'm solo, I can just get my own flow going, and I have a lot easier time managing my space. Like big groups, I think are easier because then like everybody's interacting with everyone, and I clearly don't have any problem like interjecting my own opinions and like what I want to say. But like, yeah, I think you got to be able to stream on your own if you want to make it as a creator.
That's definitely something that even like VTubers have been at this for like a couple of years now. I've not quite like learned yet, I think.
Definitely.
No,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. There was, let's see, there was a time, because I feel like I fell into a kind of similar situation, Maito, where I feel like I know more female VTubers, or they choose to interact with me more than I know or interact with male VTubers. And then the ones, again, also the ones that are available to play games, the ones that reach out to play games, like, are a lot of the female VTubers. And so I remember there was a time I actually kind of got a little worried in my head. I was like, does it look like I only interact with female VTubers? And like I really had to like kind of look at that and try to figure out where my, I guess, like where I could look to like really push more interaction with male VTubers. Because I didn't want it to seem like, oh yeah, like Kai only interacts with like male VTubers or female VTubers. And I remember like that was on my mind for a bit, because I remember somebody I used to be close with actually did bring it up, like, oh well, like it seems like you're always streaming with like hot girls that simp over your voice. I'm just like, is that what it seems like?
I've got that comment
well,
too, yeah.
Well, I that's not the case, and I hope it doesn't come across that way. But yeah, and I know there was a time when I really like tried to push for a lot of collabs, but then I think I burnt myself out. I think it was a little over the Christmas break, actually. So at the start of the new year, I actually just like I didn't collab with anyone for like the first full month. And I think I fell back in love with streaming again when I realized, oh, I can stream solo and people still enjoy me.
Yep.
That's good.
I think that happened for us around the same time, because when I did my subathon around the end of last year,
you did do. I think that's when we met
did
too.
so
actually.
many collabs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I remember before my subathon, like before I had even like seriously started planning it, I was like, I need to focus more on solo content, because I feel like I'm starting to rely too much on having other people on stream to just get by. And like when I have solo streams, I don't know what to say anymore. And then I did my subathon and had a shit ton of collabs, and it just like reinforced all of that stuff that I wanted to fix. And I'm like, damn. So after that, I definitely went into a slump.
Yeah.
But yeah, balance is key. I think that's
Balance
the
is
takeaway.
key.
I do remember you talking about that. It was really important for me to hear you talk openly about that in streams, but because it helps
Vaughn,
me
what
to
are
like
your
guide my...
preferences?
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I actually don't do a ton of collabs myself. I am open to it. I'm more than glad to do it. I try to set up Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesdays, Fridays, and like Sundays days to collab if anybody ever like wants to drag me in.
Sit down.
But yeah, I always do like hangouts, but I'll hang out with anybody as long as they got the right vibe. Like if I'm playing something like Blood Hunt, I'm like, yeah, you get a little bit more of my sadistic side, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm bloodthirsty. I want to get the dub, whatever. It's like I want somebody that's gonna match the energy. But if I'm like sitting there doing art, I don't want somebody that's gonna be like too harsh in the mellow. I'm a very vibey person. But I'll give anybody a try,
Mhm.
because spice of life is variety.
I
So
definitely.
what you're saying is you're open to collabs and you play Blood Hunt? Mm.
Yes, just about.
I don't want to. I don't want to pop. I don't want to burst your bubbles.
I know. Don't tell me.
Why do you know? I know
I
you love the
know.
game.
Do I what?
Uh,
Do you
Yeah,
know
what?
about Blood Hunt?
Uh,
I mean I have it. I've played it.
Oh, I don't think you know then.
What?
The servers are shutting down.
No!
well, they're not shutting down. They're just not going to be updated.
Yeah, they're not going to be
anymore
updated them.
after September.
Wait,
They're not
really?
doing it. Yeah, after
Yeah, they
September,
didn't
they're
hit
not
their.
approving.
They didn't hit a certain quota of player base.
Oh no.
oh no.
Yeah,
That's so sad.
I'm so sorry you had to learn that way.
Oh, in front of
Live
all
on
these people.
Twitch.tv. No.
Oh,
Top 10
It's-
anime betrayals.
you can be a man and cry, guys. It's
That's the real lesson to take away, folks. You can be a man and cry.
I do have some good news for you. They will occasionally have community votes that you can get content like costumes and stuff like that in there, but that'll be all the support, and
But,
you
like,
won't have to spend any money.
I mean, it was all free anyways, but like the whole satisfying part was just maxing out the battle pass, you know?
Um,
Like as soon as I finished the first battle pass when I started playing, I like stopped. And they updated it and I started playing again. For a little bit.
That is so crazy. Am I the only person who's not heard this game before? Like chat's
Sexy
like popping up
Fortnite.
on it.
That's what.
It's like Vampire Fortnite.
Okay,
basically.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that just means everyone can switch to playing Fortnite, right?
No.
Right?
No.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god. Okay. Does anyone have any final thoughts before I wrap this up?
Thanks for letting us all have an opportunity to connect with one another. It's really nice. I've been wanting
yeah.
to get to know all of you a little bit more since I've heard about Malachi and I've seen Maito online, and I've wanted to spend time with you. I tried.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Hell yeah.
Hell
that's
yeah.
awesome. I mean, yeah, thanks for inviting us all on, and thanks for giving us a stage of sorts to talk about a lot of these things that I feel don't get talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to the chat for being so active with the questions, because I think we definitely touched on a lot of really, really important things.
Chat was amazing today. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, like aside from, Men Can Cry Too, is, is that we should, but genuinely, that is part of it. Like, masculine VTubers are just as emotionally needy as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
We let's get rid of the I know we've already been working towards it, but let's get rid of the toxic mindset of needing to be stoic manly man all the time or any time really. Like, we can be vulnerable. We have feelings, and you can hurt those feelings.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing for us to be emotional or to need emotional support in any capacity.
Thank you, Taylor.
Preach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I had something that I wanted to say, but now I completely forgot.
Oh,
No.
Oh my god, he's a himbo. No, I'm joking.
No.
Not this
No,
bro.
Just completely derails the past 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I think what we've learned is that men are better than women.
Clip it right now. No, I'm joking.
Oh my god, no.
But I will say this: my hearing your I've been open about this. I look up to you quite a bit, and hearing you talk about your journey has been really important to me. I'll say that personally.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Um,
So go ahead.
I don't even know. I feel like I should say something to like close things out, but I don't know what to say, bro. This has been great. I've enjoyed talking with you guys. Thank you for
Oh
having
my
me.
God, so much, so much.
No. So wholesome.
So I'll do a quick outro for the YouTube. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us on this episode of the Depths podcast, episode 5, Masculinity. Our guest here maybe would like to do a plug or two, starting with Kai. Would you like to do a plug?
Oh yeah. Oh God. I was sipping water. Sorry.
Sorry. I forgot
No,
what
you're
plugs.
fine. But yeah, everyone. So once again, my name is Malachi Lasley. I tell most people to call me Kai, and you can find me on all my socials: Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all with the same handle, Malachi Lasley, no space. And yeah, if you like chill vibes or sometimes chaotic vibes and quality, variety content, there we go. Then and the occasional brain fart, then yeah, come find me.
Thank you, Kai. Maito, how about your plugs?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I have some ASMR content, TikTok. It's usually just Mito, 2 eyes.
You
Or
forgot,
on Twitter, Mito VA.
You forgot a certain website?
I'm not gonna plug that here.
Okay, fine.
If you find it, you find it.
Alrighty. How about you, Vaughn?
Hey everybody, my name's Vaughn IXI on most social media: Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Kick, not Kik. It's Vaughn IXI or Vaughn_IXI, or the spicy one with fan section, which I do a lot of. I'm starting to do charity stuff on there, but yeah, comfy horror content with a variety, spice of life. From your local postal pigeon boy. Come hang it out.
Thank you, Vaughn. And I'm your host, @Trementum_X. You may find me almost every day here on Twitch, occasionally on Blue Twitch, on Twitter, @TrementumX, and on Tumblr, inkyscripts.tumblr.com. That's going to be the script archive. I have a special treat for you all tonight. I've made a teaser for the next episode of this podcast. So I'm about to play that and we'll head out. But again, like and subscribe, and we appreciate you. Thank you and have a wonderful night.
Night.
God, Micos.
I'm finally taking over.